Shalom, my name is Michael Decker, and I'm a lawyer within the law offices of Cohen, Decker, Pix, and Brosh. Today I wanted to discuss the matter of submitting a temporary injunction to place a lien on defendant's property in a civil lawsuit. This procedure for temporary injunction to place a lien on a defendant's assets is, in my opinion, one of the most important procedures in the whole civil procedures. And why am I saying this? Because just as in every business plan, someone that invests time and money wants to make sure that he is not left empty-handed in the end of the day, the same goes for a civil lawsuit, because even if you have a very, very strong case and you submit a really good lawsuit and you do a really great job in the trial, and in the end of the day you have a verdict saying that the defendant owes you money, if the defendant has no assets and you didn't freeze the assets and he managed to eliminate all his assets, then you might be stuck with a verdict that you can basically put in a nice frame and place on your wall, but you won't be able to implement it in any way. And because of this, in my opinion, the procedure for submitting temporary liens on an account of a defendant is one of the most important procedures. So what is this temporary lien in essence? In essence, it is a request to freeze all transactions in assets, which can be property, vehicles, pension accounts, saving accounts in the bank, and basically, because we are dealing with a lawsuit and because we're dealing with claims that might be rejected even by the court, and with significant damage that might be caused to the defendant, in order to obtain such a verdict, the civil procedure regulations basically state that the plaintiff must submit an affidavit supporting all his claims. He must submit a personal obligation whereby he obligates to compensate the defendant for any damage that might be caused by the placement of these liens. And also, he will need to submit an actual bank guarantee, which is actual money, at the court, so that if his lawsuit is in the end rejected, the defendant will be able to be compensated for the damages caused by these liens. So after the liens are submitted, and in order to submit them, and once you have an order for these liens, if you obtain it, you will need to submit this order to all the relevant authorities that are responsible for and control of these assets. For example, the land registrar will be the relevant government office to submit the lien order for property, real estate. The Ministry of Transportation will be the relevant government authority to place a lien on a vehicle. The banks would be the relevant authority to place a lien on various savings accounts. Insurance companies would be the relevant companies to put liens on pension accounts, and so on and so forth. In addition, it's important to note the nature of this lien. Because we're dealing with a defendant that will receive a lawsuit, and this lawsuit wasn't even yet proven, it is much more difficult to put a lien on the general ongoing account, which the defendant needs to live with, and it's much easier to put a lien on the savings accounts and on assets that can't quickly be liquidated. Also, the question of the validity of the lien comes into effect, and the relevant court precedents determined that such liens are only good for actual property that you caught and froze in the time you submitted the request for the lien, and it's not applicable on future assets that the defendant will obtain, as is the case with a permanent lien. So after the lawsuit is submitted, and if a lien order, temporary injunction for a lien is granted, and if the plaintiff wins the lawsuit, he basically can now implement the decision he has and actually get money for the lawsuit that he won. And in order to do that, he will need to ask for the temporary lien to turn into a permanent lien via the collection agency. Our office has much experience in such matters and will be happy to assist you and to represent you. And you can feel free to contact us with any questions or clarifications regarding this matter. Thank you very much.